name's Nate Smith. I went on a bike trip to New York City this past summer. The idea of this trip had been on my heart for probably about a year, since I had done some missions work in Kenya, where I'd met a friend, and how for him that was like such a life-changing experience, and that's how he first encountered God. And I slowly felt God kind of giving me a desire to want to go to New York City and work with homeless. It took us 5 days to get to New York City. A big part of our vision for this trip was that we would not plan a whole lot on the bike trip, in the sense that we had our stuff with us on our bikes. We wouldn't plan where we were going to stay the night, where we were going to sleep, where we were going to get water and supplies and stuff. And our idea in doing that was because we wanted to really create space for God to work when we needed him to. And I hadn't done any training beforehand. I'm relatively physically fit and ride my bike pretty often, so I was like, I'll be fine. And that was my first bike tour, so yeah, we did about 50 or 60 miles a day. I wanted to bike because it's such an adventurous experience where you have to fully rely on what God is going to do, because you're kind of trapped and kind of stranded out on the road, biking by myself for hours upon hours during the day. So it's just me on this open road by myself on my bike. And people talk about how going on road trips and stuff is cool, because it's oh yeah, just the open road. But for me it was like that, but even more so, because you're on a bike. You have to work to get to where you are. So I would bike up mountains and get to the top, and I would be oh, that was terrible. And then you'd be oh wow, I just biked up this mountain, and you would look around and see this beautiful scenery. So I think that you grow most in situations where you're most uncomfortable and most vulnerable, and those are situations where God has to work. I'm sure God worked in giving me enough energy to keep going during the day and stuff like that. I think I expected it to be easier than it probably was. Physically, we got lost a lot, so I think I didn't expect that to happen. So that was an added kind of bummer in the mix. I think I had very lofty expectations of what I expected to happen, but it was way harder than I anticipated. Purpose in biking was just for a sense of adventure and fun, and then also we really wanted to see God work and God to come through in these situations, and that totally happens.